All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Zach Twardowski here with Bailey Jaber and Juan. I was going to say it right, but I think thank you for the assistance. So, thank you for flying in today. You guys just got off a travel trip. You went to St. Louis. You live in Texas, San Antonio, and Bailey obviously lives here in Denver. So, what we'd love to go over today is kind of your story, how long you've been here, all of the above, and what were you doing first and foremost before you started working with FFL, and how did you kind of find us and get interested in working with us?
Yeah, for sure. I was working for one of corporate America, a cell phone company. Basically, I was with them 6.5 years, almost 7 years. One of my old assistant manager, he's no longer with the company, and then just check up on him, just make sure he's doing okay. And he was telling me he's with this insurance company here, and he was telling me how many family that he was helping, and that got me interested, and then I just became obsessed and just kind of do all the research I can on them, basically start contacting people.
And then you're doing cell phones for 6 years. Was that your first career, or did you do something before that?
I would say it was my first career because other jobs is just like a year and maybe 2 years.
Okay, got it.
Even so, yeah.
And then the other thing that you didn't mention, it's like a side hustle or hobby, is you do a lot of professional weightlifting too, right? Or is it professional, amateur, or what is, like, explain that to everyone.
I think it's more like a hobby.
Okay.
But, it's powerlifting.
Powerlifting,
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah.
Because I saw the other day you went out to like Las Vegas and you were out there. Was it for a competition or?
Yeah, they had the Nationals. It was held in Vegas. So my wife and I, she competes as well, so we kind of took a little vacation.
Got it.
Together. It's cool stuff.
And I'm sure doing something like that, it's not, I think people confuse the thing. It's not motivation that drives something like that. It's being disciplined to be good at something like that, just like this, because you don't have to get up and work out every day, right? You don't have to lift heavy weights, and I would probably hurt myself if I did what you did, but go through that for a minute. What do you do? Like, what are the power lifts? Because I love to hear about, like, we had Brian Bowers in here the other day, and he talked to us about when he used to be like working with WWE. Yeah. So
cool.
like, what was that like, or what kind of lifts do you do, and how much do you lift on each one? And use pounds, not kilograms. I can't track.
Yeah, it's basically a combination of 3 lifts. You got squat, bench, and deadlift. My best numbers, actually not the last one, but the national before that, it was 617 squat, 363 for the bench, and then 617 deadlift.
Yeah, my back hurts just listening to those numbers. So you got started here. You had a really quick start. You hit sales manager within 2 months. And when you first started here, I don't think you were afraid to ask out for help because your direct manager is just kind of getting started too, right?
Right.
So go through like kind of how you got linked up with Bailey and how you started working together and started doing well. Or Bailey, if you have any input on that too, but how you had that really quick start where you helped. Like, what's your best month so far from personal production?
39 families.
39 families, and then
Yeah.
your team's done 75, close to 100 families for the month, right?
Yeah.
So how did you guys get connected and start working together to see that success right away?
I think one thing that Ons definitely brought to the agency is, bringing the culture and making the agency work together with a positive environment, getting new agents rolling from the get-go, staying in touch and in communication with them. And again, I think that that's been huge and important for our agency and for us to grow internally and with each other.
Yeah, I do want to shout out corporate America for that. We talk a lot about culture and, to create, what does your brand represent, like your personal brand and your team, your store, whatever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, for sure, that's definitely in corporate America.
And one big thing is On and I met back in convention in February in Miami. And, one thing that he's definitely helped me with is, like who you surround yourself with, because again, if you're kind of hanging out with 4 people that are, on the wrong bus, you're going to be that 5th. But again, if you're kind of hanging out with 4 people that are successful, more than likely you're going to be that 5th successful person. So On's, been a big learning curve for me and this business, having that little kickstart.
No, absolutely. And you mentioned corporate America, and so the benefits of it sounds like you understood how to brand. You had good structure in your life. You understood how to talk to and work with people. Is there anything that you would say, like, for people that are in corporate America that are transitioning to this, like some traps you might fall into that you have to get away from the corporate mindset on?
Really just, I think there's 2 different kind of people in corporate America. One that follow orders, like really good order takers, and one that see themselves a little bit more than what was given to them, the orders. The people who's thrive for more, I think this is probably the vehicle they want to look into, because you are 100% responsible for everything that's happening in this business.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that really draw me to it is, I'm in control of everything, lead flow, how I grow my team, stuff like that. That was 100% me. There's no other people that I had to go level up or anything like that. So that was always me. So that's what I love about it.
And then did you start out full time here? Did you start part time initially? And I guess for anyone watching that is in corporate America or is kind of thinking of transitioning over, what do you recommend is the best way to do that to make a clean transition over?
I definitely started out part time, just kind of fill it out because it was I was making over 6 figures. I got 2 kids, a mortgage, the whole 9 yards, and I didn't want to have a dip on the income, so I tried it out part time, and I was seeing how quickly I can get money, and just an easy transition. There's no brainer at that point. I'm like, hey, I'm putting this much time, I'm making this much money. What can I do full time, and beyond? So that was a no-brainer. I was making the transition pretty easy.
What did your schedule look like when you were doing it part time so that you could transition over? Like, and how many hours were you working in corporate job versus how many hours were you working here? And then did you get with Bailey or anyone to kind of help put that schedule and lead flow together?
Yeah, definitely. Bailey helped me out a lot regarding lead flows and just expectation what we should be doing. I was working 42 to 46 hours in my regular job. I do have 2 days off in a week, so I either dial the first day off and then trying to run like 2-3 days later. That was option one. The second option I was also doing was go to work. I get out around 6:30, and I would run appointment like all the way until like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Just a half hour on the half hour, so like 30 minutes per appointments.
Got it. And that's just because your schedule was like you'd have a Monday and then like a Friday off, so it was hard to put 2 days together. Where you got it. And then I think the last thing I wanted to ask you about that was, obviously you said you're married, you got a couple kids, 2 kids. How did that communication go with your wife to go, hey, I'm going to try this out. I need your support on the home front so I can do this here. Because I think a lot of people miss, you have to have, if you're married or you have a significant other, you need the support, right?
Yeah, significantly.
So yeah, what did that conversation look like and how supportive was she of this from the beginning?
She know who she married, man. She always tell me that you always chase to the next big thing. And that was a lot of self-beliefs. And when I told her about the opportunity, she was like, here we go. But she supported me 100% from the beginning. And, that's pretty awesome. And I think it's important to set the right expectation in the beginning with your spouse because you don't think about it, but even though you go through a transition, so is your family.
Yeah.
And you need somebody to hold it down at home when you're doing these kind of things, so it's very important to have this conversation almost daily, weekly. I'm still having that conversation with her.
Yeah. I remember, when I started, we weren't married yet, but she was my girlfriend at the time, my wife now. We used to not plan anything out. And I just, one day I was like, hey, can you take me to the airport? She's like, sure, when? I'm like, in like 30 minutes, Yeah. And she was like, that's not going to work at all. So we started we have one of those big, the big teacher calendar things you can put on. We have one of those that are planned out for 2 months in advance now. So we can schedule everything in and it's, works a lot better that way. So Bailey, from your perspective, what do you think are, 2 or 3 things you could give that, On had a really quick start? What are a couple of things you saw that he did really well that you could encourage other agents watching to do to be able to see more success right away?
So when On and I were putting together his lead plan, he got contracted, he was getting approval with carriers. We're kind of going over the expectations of what it looks like to be a full agent. So we're going over, lead flow, minimum 30 appointments a week. And what really caught my eye with On was like his wife said, what can he do to be, the next step up? He didn't want to do 30 appointments. He wanted to do 40, 50 appointments. So I think, number one to a new agent is, that 30 appointments needs to be top priority. If you're not doing that, it's going to be hard to pay the bills. Number 2, I think On's been very coachable from the beginning. When he gets told no or any objection, he doesn't take my advice or Wiley's advice or your advice. He doesn't take it a bad way. He's able to take it and use it and grow with it. So he doesn't get hit with that same objection again. And I think on top of that, the last one I have to say for new agents is his consistency, because this business can and will eat you alive if you're running 10 appointments one week, 5 appointments the next. I think On's been very consistent with running that full-time schedule, 30 appointments, buying leads, hopping. He's not near an office, so again, he's hopping on Zoom. He's plugging into new agents, plugging into Zoom. He's a great part of the team, man. So it's a pleasure being in business with you, On.
Sure.
Yeah, I think those are 3 qualities I would give everyone too. And like you said, the activity part is crucial. Coachability, like having the ability to not have an ego and just go, I'm doing something wrong, I need some help.
Sure.
I think we're all doing that. And then, like you said, staying consistent. And for anyone watching too, like the coachability part works, but you have to find people that are at the level you want so they can teach you to get there, Yeah, for sure. So to kind of go back to what Bailey said you've helped him with is surrounding yourself by the right people. I mean, that's something that I think everyone does at every level of business you get to, whether you're trying to get to, 1,000 families helped a month or 10,000 families helped a month as an agency, you need someone who's at that level to teach you to get there. So
For sure.
on any words of encouragement for anyone in corporate America scared to make the jump to kind of wrap this thing up with, or?
Yeah, for sure. I think the best thing about this business is you can start part-time. You don't have to fully commit in it. Find out for yourself. And then I think at that point, you're smart enough to make the decision for yourself.
Yeah.
I just got to make that jump, that leap of faith.
Yeah, and there's a ton of people that have done it. I remember a couple years ago, Eric Schmidt was doing, 80 weeks or 80 hours a week at the car place dealership that he worked at, and still was doing this and still helping 10 families a week. So you can make it work. You just have to be committed to it, right?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
if someone's watching, interested, they connect with you, what's your number? What's your phone number so they can get a hold of you so they can reach out and work with you?
Yeah, for sure. It's area code is 915-240-9178.
Cool. And then you're in San Antonio, and you got a bunch of guys all
Antonio,
over
Texas.
Texas and all over the United States, but a lot of people in Texas, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys for jumping on. Bailey, thank you for coming